Just me, or does the lighting look really good today? Hey guys, my name's Kizine and welcome to my channel where we're always writing it right. I am super excited about today's video because we're going to be doing something today that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're a writer, and as you probably know, writing is fun, but it can also be very hard, especially when you're a teenager. So today I wanted to share some tips for teenage writers from a teenage writer. First, let me go get a drink. Gatorade is very refreshing if I do say so myself. Before I say anything else, guys, please give this video a humongous thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. I really appreciate all of your support, and without further ado, let's get into the tips. Tip number 1 is write whenever. If you're a more organized, by the books type of writer like me, chances are you're always up for a good schedule. And while schedules are great, they're not always convenient, specifically when you're a student or a teenage writer. If you're a newer writer and a young writer like me, and you're kind of questioning as to whether or not having a schedule is the best method for you to write consistently, I'd say a hard no, and here's why. Now, of course, this is just my personal opinion, but I personally believe that writing schedules can be helpful for some writers, but it can cause other writers to get into writing slumps or stop writing altogether. The reason for that is, as teenagers, most of us are students, we have friends that we like to hang out with, and extracurricular activities, as well as some additional things that may take up time within our daily schedule. So when we create a specific time in which we want ourselves to sit down and write, and for whatever reason we may miss a day, or 2 days, or 3 days, or even a week, in some cases where life kind of distracts us from our writing, it can be a bit depressing to realize that you're not as consistent as you had originally planned. Not only does this make the entire writing process a lot more fun, exciting, and freeing, but it also takes away a lot of the stress that comes with trying to write during a specific time every day. Tip number 2 is read from the greats, whether this includes award-winning, best-selling authors who write in your genre, or books from authors who are in our age group. As teenage writers, you may have all heard that it can be a bit harder to publish a novel when you're a teenager. However, there have been plenty of success stories of teenage writers like you and me who have successfully published their own novels. In addition, there have been so many amazing novels from famous award-winning authors in pretty much every genre that I believe writers of all ages and skill levels can learn from. I know this is kind of a cliche tip that you hear everybody say on authortube, and you're probably tired of hearing by now, but I'm going to repeat it once more. Read books within your same genre regardless of your writing skill level. Not only does this give you tips about prose and that kind of really flowery type of writing style, but it also gives you ideas on story structure, tropes, and other things that can really help you with the developmental aspects of your plot and your story. Tip number 3, specifically for newer writers or writers who may be just getting back into writing, is start with fan fiction. No sites required. If you're a writer, you've probably heard of fan fiction. I started with it, and a lot of other people in the writing community have started with fan fiction. Now, if you are not familiar with that term, it is basically when you are a super fan of a movie or a series or any type of television feature, really, and you decide to write a story about the characters or the world, usually with some type of alternate ending, or maybe something that you would have liked to see in the actual show or movie that was not provided. It could also be the original story in a different character's point of view, or it could be an overall retelling of a movie in text form. The number of options we as writers have with fan fiction is so vast, and I think that's part of what makes fan fiction so fun for members of the writing community. My personal favorite sites for fan fiction, both of which I have used, are fanfiction.net and Wattpad, which I will both link down in the description box. Just remember to all youth out there to be safe while sharing your work and interacting with other people online. Tip number 4, probably the hardest of them all, is completely try to let go of perfectionism during writing, particularly during the drafting process. If you're a perfectionist like me, this can be a lot easier said than done because we as writers, whether or not it's our first draft or our 7th draft, we want our writing to be perfect or at least as good as possible. And the reality is when this is our first draft or a fast draft or maybe even a 0 draft, this is not always possible to get a perfect outcome. Therefore, I highly encourage teen and new writers to let go of their kind of inner editor while they are drafting. Whether or not you want to consider publishing as part of your writing journey now or in the future, it's really important that you just let go of that kind of urge to edit your work and really make sure that you really get finished with the story before you dive into the edits. Some tips for some of you guys who are probably like, I'm not so sure about that tip is if you are writing a chapter and you feel like you want to edit the beginning or the part that you're writing currently, get finished with the chapter first and then revise and edit. Again, I know this can be a lot easier said than done, but when you are finished with your awesome story, I'm quite sure you'll be thankful that you did this. So if you would like to consider beta readers or people who kind of read your later revisions of your manuscript and kind of give you some feedback, then I would recommend choosing people who you know if possible. Well, for the most part, as teenage writers, we usually go to our friends and family first to get feedback for our work. And I feel like this is such a great thing to do, especially if you have family members or friends who are also writers in your genre and who kind of know plot and all those other aspects of writing. However, I do realize that this is not everyone's case, and there are plenty of writers out there who do not have anyone in their family or friend group who want to read their writing or are a writer like them. And if you are a person in this scenario, I would either suggest 1, going online and searching for beta readers, with parental permission of course, or 2, really learning how to self-edit and be your own critic of your work. When looking for beta readers, I would also really pay attention to how well you take constructive criticism. Are you on the more sensitive side, or do you like hearing feedback for your personal work? Always, before you hire a beta reader online, make sure you read reviews. If you can get any referrals, that's always a great thing. And just again, remember to be safe when you are getting beta readers or any type of person to read your work online. I have not tried beta readers as a method for getting feedback on my writing myself, and that includes my circle of friends and family. However, I have heard a lot of great things about beta readers and all that they can do to really strengthen your manuscript. So if you need more information about beta readers, I will link some articles about them down below. And the last but most important tip on this list is to have fun with your writing. Guys, we are teenagers, and I know there are a lot of us out there that are great writers and aspiring authors, and we kind of almost want to rush into it and be published as soon as possible. I know I do, and I definitely struggle with that sometimes. However, we are not in any race. We are not in a rush, and we have plenty of life to live. We have plenty of things to learn, and we have plenty more writing to do before we genuinely have to worry about publishing. Now, personally, I think if you would like to publish your novel, whether that is through self-publishing or traditional publishing, I think that is awesome, and I think it can be a really great thing to publish young. However, if you are personally not interested in publishing your manuscript or any of your work, and you just like to write for fun, make sure you embrace that. And even if you do want to professionally publish your work, don't forget to have fun with everything you write and not to write for trends. Write the stories that you want to write. Because in the end, that is what writing is all about, and it makes it a lot more fun as well. So those were my 7 tips for teenage writers from a teenage writers. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed filming it. If you did enjoy it, please give this video a humongous thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. And if you are a fellow teenage writer, please comment down below which one of these tips did you find the most helpful, and or what are some other tips that you have for teenage writers and newer writers in the writing community. Thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.